Hey YouTube, it's Red Gorilla, and I'm back this time with how do I think a Guerilla Squad should be set up? Well, honestly, I don't think that a guerrilla group is going to be a full squad size. One of my neighbors is out privately training also at the moment. So if you guys hear any gunfire out there, don't worry about me, don't worry about them. They're out there doing their thing, right? They're getting it good. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what a guerrilla team looks like. Well, first of all, you're probably going to need a group of guys. I think that 6 is probably the most realistic maximum that most of you guys out there building your group, building your crew, are going to be able to achieve is probably 6. So you're going to need somebody who is that leader. Somebody who is going to be able to help that leader in making and creating a mission, right? And finding out intelligence, your S2, right? Your G2, your S2, those are your intelligence guys, right? A little bit of spycraft knowledge can go a long way, and it doesn't even have to be a whole heck of a lot. A lot of that can just be doing stakeouts or map reconnaissance of an area. Know who in your area is for the Constitution and against the Constitution. And typically it's really easy. Most of these folks have signs out on their front lawn for who they voted for, stickers on their cars, who they voted for, who they want to vote for. And you're going to see the FJB stickers a lot. And you know that those guys are probably going to be sympathetic to your cause. Or you're going to run into somebody who has Biden-Harris in their front yard or a sticker on their car, right? Or NPR on their car, or or MSNBC on their car. People love to tell other folks about themselves, and usually it's an outward thing. Hey, we love this. We love, Starbucks coffee, and they got a sticker on the back of their car. Okay, cool, right? You can at least guesstimate whose side they're going to be on and figure out who all is in your area, right? So S2 that way. Now get back to your third guy, going to be someone who's a weapon specialist. Maybe they are a lower end gunsmith or an upper end gunsmith, something of that sort. Somebody who knows firearms and maybe some tactics, but a lot of folks know firearms more than they know actual tactics, right? Your leader probably needs to have those tactics nailed down. And then you're going to need somebody who's kind of sort of an engineer. Well, where do you start off with at that? Maybe an electrician, maybe a carpenter, somebody who knows how to build things and get rid of things, but they're going to have a skill set missing that a Charlie would have, and that's that demolitions and explosives knowledge. So if you want somebody who can do that, there's lots of books out there, and you can train folks up. The Anarchist Cookbook is probably an okay good one that has the information, but not necessarily the training, right? We got information. All right, so where was I? Delta, right? Somebody who is at the very least interested in doing the medical stuff. This can be like a veterinarian maybe, right? They get taught to do live tissue training in the real world. So a veterinarian, probably okay. A lot of those medicines that get used on animals can be used on humans as well without killing us, right? For goats, right? Especially goats get sick all the time. So it's good to have the peanut butter shot, penicillin, ready to go to keep your goats alive. Well, guess what? Most humans are also okay to take the peanut butter shot to keep infection away, to keep infection at bay, right? So somebody who's trained a little bit on that, maybe an EMT. But there's also a lot of civilian classes that regular old folks can go take. I would suggest, divvying up the training that you guys want to get into one guy focuses on his speciality that month or that year, right? Your gun guy is probably going to go to some guns and tactics classes. Your engineer can go to all kinds of different classes, probably not one for demolition, blowing shit up, But there are plenty of building classes which are just as, if not more important, and I would say that they're probably more important, so you can build barricades and build buildings, right? What I've talked about a lot on this channel is how we're building that community. Well, it might just be, let's actually build something for somebody, right? Water, power, and I guess the internet, right? Those are three big things that you can help and aid out with in the community. So whenever Blue 4, or well, whenever White Cell says, hey, you're not allowed to have this anymore, and Blue 4 comes to take certain things away, or they start charging you for having things like, hey, we collect rainwater. Well, in some states, or a lot of places, even out in the county, that's a no-no. You're not allowed to collect rainwater. Why would you ever want to do that, you fucking freedom person? Why would you ever want to be able to be self-sustaining and have your own water at any point in time that you so desire, right? If it's water that comes out of the ground, which is water that had fallen from the sky and seeped into the earth, if you happen to have a well and White Cell decides to start charging you for picking up that natural resource that God had given you and you dug a hole in to go into the earth to pick it up, well, why would you ever want to be able to have your own water and not get taxed on something that is given freely to animals? Right? Okay, I'll get off of that. But you want somebody who can build or help other people build things, right? In a scenario where just normal stuff happens. What if you can't procure water because of a tornado that came through? A tornado just ripped through the Midwest not even too long ago, right? Okay, well, here comes an engineer. Hey guys, sorry that your house got torn down. We're going to work on you today. We're going to build you a shelter. It's got 4 walls and a roof, and I'm sorry that it doesn't have much of anything else, but it's got 4 walls and a roof, right? So now you're not super duper cold this spring. Okay? Major brownie points for that area. All right, now let's get to your electronic warfare specialist. Somebody who knows radios or really wants to learn about radios, make that their job. There are so many radio technician courses out there for folks who want to deal with a radio. This guy is going to do the fill, the radio fill. I mean, that's what we called it. I've heard other people call it other things, right? We would call it fill, and you would clone that fill for every radio that's going to be on your team, and make sure that everybody has, you know, the main channels for a channel to reach headquarters, a channel to reach higher, a channel that is for the platoon, and a channel that is for squad internal, right? And then a team internal, and then somebody who's going to call in for medevac, right? Well, guerrillas don't necessarily have the availability to get medevac, but what can you do? Probably team and probably squad, and maybe I would attempt to talk to the next guerrilla group over, right? Maybe they can be your QRF, maybe, right? It just depends on what their thoughts are, what their feelings are. If they're a guerrilla group that's against the Constitution, I'd probably stay away from them, right? I would be like, hey, you know, we're not about that. It's Constitution all the way for us. Because we believe in freedom, not just for ourselves, but for all, right? For everybody. Freedom for all of us. Okay, so now you have your 6 people, right? Your lead, your intel, your weapons, your engineer, your medical, and your electronic warfare specialist, right? The bad thing about having that 6 is I don't think that that is necessarily going to be a great number, and we'll get into the weapons and stuff that I think a short fire team of guerrillas should have. Obviously rifles, right? We'll get into that stuff a little bit later. But how many people do I think that you as a guerrilla are probably going to even be able to trust? Unless you're already in a group of guys who are just awesome and excellent, God-fearing men, then you're probably going to come up with 3. You and the 2 buddies that you started hanging out with whenever you were around 15, 16, right? That's when you're starting to make those really heavy bonds. So what happens whenever you cut that team in half? Well, your team lead is probably still going to need somebody who understands the tactical side of things. You're very, very small. You're going to focus on tactics rather than strategy. A three-man group isn't going to be able to affect a massive strategy in his area, which is why I suggest that guerrillas focus on their county, right? If you can focus on the city that you're in, awesome. If you guys can focus on 2 counties or 3 counties or 4 counties, cool beans, man. That's really cool and that's really good. But you as 3 dudes or you as 6 dudes or you as even a 40-man platoon are probably not going to be able to extend your soft or hard power out further than your neighborhood or your county. And even for myself, I don't think I'm going to be able to extend that through my entire county, but I can at least extend it to my town, right? Not a whole lot of people in it, but I can at least extend that help and that free training or whatever I can do to them, for them, whatever. Any way I can help and aid them. Now, let's go ahead and back out. Again, you're three people. Somebody who understands tactics and weapons and mission planning. Probably okay to be your version of a Bravo and team lead at the same time. Now, I'm not saying that everybody knows everything and that your leader needs to be voted in by everybody else, right? You're the head honcho for tactical decision making. Everything else is up for vote, right? Hey guys, what do you think we should do this weekend? Hey, it's up for vote. That's what we're going to be doing this weekend. Okay, cool. But whenever you're on the ground and you're actually running a mission, the other 2 homies, they shut up and they listen to exactly what tactical leadership is telling them, right? And you as that tactical leader, if you are in that position, I need you to realize there is no hire, right? You cannot be a lieutenant in Afghanistan asking your captain for permission to do something. There is no hire. Nobody is coming to help you, and it's just you and your probably 2 homies. All right, so who's the next guy? Well, probably your S1, who's going to end up having to do a lot of stuff. Probably somebody who can focus on medical and maybe a little bit of that engineering, that building stuff, right? I think that would be a good mix, but again, mix and match the way that you guys want to, but those are the skills that you probably need to have. Somebody who is really just excellent, mad dogging it at the medical side, right? Somebody who is good enough to do that stuff. You're not a doctor, and maybe you are a doctor, cool beans. You're not necessarily a doctor, but you're that combat lifesaver who knows everything about being a combat lifesaver, right? So whenever we decide to go do training during the year, one of you is picking up, hey, I'm going to the weapons and tactical classes. One of you is picking up, hey, I'm doing the survive outside longer medical classes, right? I'm doing the medical. We're doing stop the bleed. We're doing march. We're doing TCCC, or smarched, actually. We're doing the TCCC. We're doing all that specialized stuff. And then as much field surgery as we can prep for and learn about anatomy in the human body and being able to take care of your homies at a little bit higher level than just a 68 whiskey, but at a lower level than what a hospital is going to be able to provide. I mean, hospitals have so many more resources than you have. And then your last guy is probably going to need to be an electronic warfare specialist. And why would I say an electronic warfare specialist? Well, we're talking about ISR and drones, so somebody who knows how to fly those around. Somebody who maybe knows how to hack a little bit, or just knows how to defend against that electronic warfare, and has physical means to take out other drones. A good way to take out other drones is probably a directional parabolic antenna and an EMP emitter. You don't need a net. You don't need to send some 5.56 up there to get rid of that drone. You just point a little electromagnetic gun at it, and it drops like a fucking rock. You just decided to nuke its battery, right? Much better and much easier to have on your person than it would be to try hacking into somebody else's, cell phone while they have it up and about. But they are also your communication specialist. That guy probably needs to go to the radio classes, probably needs to learn how to use some of the other machines, right? So if you're doing 3, you're trying to take all 6 of those jobs and push them into 3 guys. And those are already very specific and specialized jobs. Now, how does that actually work? Everybody on the team is going to need to be cross-trained. So you have your guy who's a weapons specialist. Okay, guys, I know you don't really get into the whole gunsmithing thing, but we're going to make sure that everybody at the very least knows and understands how to shoot. So probably somebody who can go out, learn to shoot, and then also learn to be an instructor on how to shoot, right? But not only are we just shooting, we are shooting as a fire team. You're working as a team all together towards your very own goal, right? And typically that goal at this point of the game, I think, would be to make contact and then break contact and survive that contact, right? You only got one life, so don't throw it away. The next guy is spending his money on training. The medical stuff, I would say, is probably more important than going out and doing the engineer stuff. But a lot of the DIY stuff you can figure out on your own. That's not a big, hard deal. So you're an epic generalist at this point, is what you're doing. And then the last guy, I'm about as smart as a rock, right? I'm trying to figure out radios, but I'm definitely not going to be the guy who can brute force hack into, Fort Knox's firewall system, right? That is not something that I would think myself capable of, but you probably want somebody who can do some lower end, right? Like, let's break into an electronic lock, lower end kind of deal, or is able to make a comm shot from comm shot. Anyway, a comm shot from your location out to maybe another guerrilla group who's listening at certain and specific times, or you guys all know that, hey, at certain times, God, yeah. Or at certain times, like, hey, we make a call every such and such day that we came up with. We make that call at exactly this time. You're not going to make those calls at the exact same time, right? You're not going to be like, oh, hey, 5 p.m., we always make this call. No, that doesn't make any sense. That's how you get caught, right? You do it at the exact same time all the time. It's kind of like with the Enigma machine. Oh, no, we can't figure out the code, but we end the code with Hail Hitler every fucking day, right? And that's how the Enigma code was cracked, because Hail Hitler was all they needed, right? Oh, hey, now the code is cracked, right? So if you're saying, hey, we're going to do this 5 o'clock every fucking day, well, okay, you're very easy to find. It's easy to figure out what freaks you're on, at least for that day, right? So don't do that. Freaks should change every 24 hours minimum, right? Your freaks change every 24 hours minimum, and your shot call times change every 24 hours minimum, and don't use them the same weeks, right? Like Monday at 3 o'clock, we use this frequency. No, it's not going to be Monday at 3 o'clock. Maybe that first Monday it's at 3 o'clock, and then maybe you have a rolling time card that, hey, it's this time. The date is this, it's this time, right? So you need somebody who is that communication specialist. It's a stupid dog. Oh my gosh. And fully understands not only how to do that communication, but also the operational security on, hey, this is how we're doing the commo, and this is why we're doing the commo this way. I'm going to go ahead and get the hell out of here and, get some food. This has been Red Sail Guerrilla in transmission.